Gentleman's time has expired. Mr. Babin, you're recognized.
Sir, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses for being here and your testimonies. I think there's definitely some resentment among my colleagues and the American public about this incident. The perception here is really frustrating, and you've already addressed some of these, but I'd like to ask my questions. If you zoom out, the Singapore flag vessel crashes into and completely destroys a historic bridge, kills 6 construction workers, and is now trying to avoid liability for the incident. People have a lot of questions. Is it safe for foreign flag vessels to operate in U.S. waterways? Are other bridges safe? I've heard a number of questions wondering whether their bridges are safe. Was this incident a result of foul play or negligence? What can we do to prevent this from ever happening again, and who is going to pay for this thing? And I appreciate you all for coming and answering questions. My first question is for Admiral Gautier. If anyone else has thoughts, please feel free to jump in. I know this whole response is a great team effort, but first off, I'm told the Coast Guard is doing a great job leading the way in the unified response in Baltimore, so I want to thank you and the Coast Guard for your commitment and all of the hard work that you and the Coast Guard have done. As you all know better than most, the Gulf states fought against the National Contingency Plan Unified Command Structure response throughout the Deepwater Horizon oil spill a few years ago in the Gulf of Mexico. The National Incident Commander's report concluded that the Gulf states' effort resulted in the political and social nullification of the oil spill response doctrine and structure governance. It appears from press reports, meetings with Maryland state officials, and member and staff trips to the wreck site that Maryland embraced the National Incident Command structure and that the response has worked well within that structure. Is the National Incident Command structure still an effective and efficient mechanism for coordinating federal interagency and state, local, federal interactions during incidents such as the Dolly collision?
Congressman, thank you very much, first off, for the compliments to the Coast Guard. And I just have to also acknowledge the leadership of Colonel Pinchason, Army Corps of Engineers, Colonel Butler, Jim Harkins, and Jeff Donahoe, who are the state incident commanders. It's a fantastic leadership team. To answer your question, the incident command system is absolutely a fundamental principle that by which this incident response has been successful. It's part of U.S. doctrine under the National Incident Management System. It's how we respond to hurricanes, oil spills, other types of incidents just like this. I think we now have a great deal of practice in the United States since the Deepwater Horizon in doing this. And I think what I will just observe is that this particular incident had a very tight connection between the operational commanders who were running the incident and elected leaders who all shared the same objectives. The elected leaders took the time and effort, governor, mayor, members of Congress, to keep up to date on what was going on and to provide the trade space to allow these folks to get on with the response.
Okay, thank you. Second question I'd like to address to Administrator Bott. I'd like to talk about the path forward from here for the Key Bridge. What is the plan to replace the bridge? My constituents are not wanting to pay for this thing. In my view, the company or the country responsible for the incident should be footing the bill, not the U.S. taxpayer. If the U.S. is ultimately going to pay for this bridge, it better come out of funds that we've already allocated. President Biden and Speaker Pelosi authorized trillions for infrastructure, and that should be including bridges. The last thing I want to do is to vote to spend another $1 or $2 billion on a new bridge. So, Administrator Bott, talk to me on what you see as a path forward here on the payment for this thing.
Thank you, Congressman. And just in terms of the rebuild path, Maryland DOT plans to issue their RFP close to Memorial Day. They'll select a preferred team in August, and then they're looking at construction completion in 2028 is a preliminary schedule. And in terms of the payment, as I've stated, right now there's a preliminary estimate, $1.7 to $1.9 billing in dollars. There's a $350 million insurance payment that we're working through to see what level of that would be applicable. And any funds that are recovered through legal activity or insurance payouts will go back into the ER funds. We just don't have a path to getting there right now in terms of what is eligible.
Okay, I'm out of time, so I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all.